It's Wednesday, December 13. In the headlines, changes coming to JUTC routes. In business news, Caribbean Airlines expands a call center. Regionally, Trinidad and Tobago's parliament says legislation needed to fight cybercrimes. And in sports, Education Minister addresses Mona High School brawl at Jamaica College. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Commuters will see changes to some Jamaica Urban Transit Company JUTC operated routes next year. Portfolio Minister Darrell Vaz says the changes are intended to meet the anticipated increase in demand for service, resulting from the temporary reduction in bus fares beginning January 2024. Effective January 1, 2024, there will be a reduction in the regular JUTC fare from $100 to $70, a decrease in the fare for children from $30 to $25, and for pensioners from $40 to $30. Finance and Public Service Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke had said in Parliament that come April 1, 2024, there will be a further reduction in the regular fare from $70 to $50. Fares for children will be further reduced from $25 to $20 and pensioners' rates from $30 to $25. He says the reductions form part of measures to curtail the impact of the increase in public passenger vehicle fares on the overall inflation rate. Dr. Clarke said that the reduction in bus fares was done to support the Bank of Jamaica's efforts to return and keep inflation within the target range of 4 to 6%. Jamaica should see a record total of 4.1 million visitors this year, generating an earning of $4.65 billion. Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett gave an update on the tourism sector in Parliament on Tuesday. The tourism minister says the $4.265 billion in earnings represent a projected increase of 17.8% over revenues secured in 2022.
17.2, and this is important, 17.2% increase over the pre-pandemic year of 2019. Madam Speaker, you recall that we had indicated as part of our KPI that in 5 years we would be doing 5 million visitors and earn $5 billion in 5 years. And you remember the 5 by 5 by 5. Well, Madam Speaker, we had to revise that in 2020 when we came to zero. And the better news is that in 3 years, we have achieved now 4 by 4 by 3.
He notes that the more than 4 million visitors recorded would signal an increase of 23% over the total number of visitors recorded in 2022.
Of this number, Madam Speaker, 2,875,549 are expected to be stopover visitors, and that, as you know, is the bread and butter, which represents a 16% increase over the number of stopover arrivals recording in 2022.
According to the tourism minister, the sector is expected to end the year with approximately 1.24 million recorded arrivals from cruise ships,
which would represent a whopping 46.1% increase over 2020.
He notes that the sector has seen 10 consecutive quarters of growth. The Education and Youth Ministry has established a behavior change support system for students. Portfolio Minister Favour Williams says the model is a new way of bringing together the current services that exist under the ministry. She made the announcement during Wednesday's post-cabinet press brief. Denita Rodney has that story.
The Education Minister says the behavior change support system for students is being implemented through a team-based approach.
It's health promotion, it's health education, it's guidance and counseling and mental health services, it's a healthy, safe and secure school environment, it's nutrition health services, it's student health services, and it's behavior change support.
Minister Williams wants to ensure that all students have the best opportunity to participate in an effective learning environment.
We want to promote health and pro-social behaviors, as well as help students to develop life skills that enable them to make positive decisions and manage their developmental issues.
Minister Williams explains how it is being approached.
So in our high schools, in our secondary schools, we have guidance and counseling. We have an HFLE, Health and Family Life Education teacher. We have safety and security in the form of a dean of discipline, and we have student health services, generally in the form of a school nurse. Traditionally, these different providers, let's call them that, have operated singularly in delivering the services. We are saying that it's going to be a more powerful delivery on behalf of the students if all of these persons come together as a team to share information about the student in order to be able to help that student more powerfully.
Noting that there are 1,200 guidance counselors, 139 established deans, and 180 health and family life educators in secondary schools, along with 120 nurses, Minister Williams says a cohesive approach to the service would improve the effectiveness of the services for students.
Let's say a student shows up to the nurse with a broken hand. Yes, the nurse will treat the broken hand or get additional services, but you also want the nurse to be alerted to the fact that this could be more than just an accident, a broken hand. And so you find that we'd want the nurse to involve the teacher, the guidance counselor, to come together so that there is a better understanding of what exactly is happening to the student.
She says principals and members of the regional bodies have been made aware of the model and it is being rolled out. For the news on PBCJ, I'm Denita Rodney.
The Domestic Violence Amendment Act 2023 was tabled in Parliament on Tuesday. The act is designed to give greater protection to victims and to deal effectively with perpetrators. Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Grange, is piloting the act through its stages.
The resonance of change echoes through Clause 4, where penalties for breaching protection orders are not merely adjusted, but dramatically elevated. This is a bold statement to our society, a declaration that we will not tolerate the violation of the sanctity of personal security. In a master stroke, Madam Speaker, a new subsection emerges, endowing me as minister with the power to flexibly amend monetary penalties, ensuring our legal arsenal stays attuned to the ever-evolving dynamics of domestic violence.
Let's now check in at the business desk with Denise Williams.
Good day and welcome to the Business Report. I'm Denise Williams. Today we bring you a snapshot of key stories impacting the business landscape. Let's dive in. Caribbean Airlines expands call center. Caribbean Airlines is expanding its call center operations in Jamaica by hiring additional reservation agents. The airline opened up numerous positions last month at its Kingston office, citing plans to grow its flight network and courier service. Caribbean Airlines stated that it is on track to be profitable again in 2023 for the first time in 4 years. The expanded call center aims to support the airline's growth plans. Blue Power cleans up with triple percentage growth in profits. Blue Power Group Limited, BPOW, for the 6 months ended October 31, 2023, reported a profit before taxation growth of 298% to reach $90 million, compared to its 2022 earnings of $22 million. Blue Power Management noted, during the quarter, we continued to compete and complete capital projects and make improvements to our quality systems, efficiency, facilities, and product lines. We note that some market opportunities within CARICOM may be constrained by current legal uncertainties about the trade rules within the region. We do, however, remain hopeful that Blue Power Group will be able to grow in the years ahead by manufacturing and co-packing bar soaps for both domestic and export markets. Lumber Depot hits double-digit profit growth. Lumber Depot Limited, which trades as Lumber, for the 6 months ended October 31, 2023, reported 11% increase in 6 months net profit attributable to shareholders to reach $86 million compared to the earnings in 2022 of $78 million. Lumber highlighted in their report, during the first half of the year, we improved our facility in Papine through investments in our buildings, yard space, financial control systems, and operating equipment. Scotiabank Jamaica pays more taxes on profits that grows by double digits. Scotiabank Jamaica's tax bill jumped by 63% to reach $8 billion on the back of net profits for the year of $17 billion, a 67% increase from the $10 billion Scotiabank earned in 2022. There were 3 main ways that Scotiabank Jamaica earned money. They earned from profits from forex trading, interest earned on loans, and insurance revenue. First, Scotia Group Jamaica Limited, for the year ended October 31, 2023, reported a 31% increase in interest income, totaling $40 billion, compared to $31 billion in the corresponding period last year. Net insurance revenue for the year amounted to $1.8 billion, compared to $884 million in 2022. Scotiabank Jamaica management noted that the growth in total revenues was primarily driven by an increase in net interest income of $8.8 billion, stemming from the strong growth in our loan portfolio, higher insurance revenue, higher gains on foreign currency activity, as well as higher fee and commission income earned given the significant increase in transaction volumes. Now we look at Caribbean stock market highlights. In Jamaica, on our stock exchange, for December 12, 2023, the winners experienced double-digit gains. Box Company, AMG Packaging and Paper Company closed at $2.66, which is a 16% jump in the share price. Epley 6% preference share moved by 15% to close trading at $1.47. The JPS 7% preference share experienced an 11% increase in trading to close at $44.57. Now, there were declining stocks, and traders experienced losses on the Jamaica Stock Exchange in the following companies. Ice cream company Caribbean Cream Limited fell by 19% to close at $3. Surgical Center G West Corporation saw 17% shaved off the value to close the day's trading at 83 cents. Financial and real estate firm Cygnus Real Estate Finance Limited ended the day's traded at US 7 cents, representing a 15% decline. Moving from the money moves on the stock market, we turn to the forex market. On December 12, 2023, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $18 million was bought from Forex traders, while US $17 million was sold to Forex traders. Now, these traders move the market with high activity, moving US currency through the economy. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US for $156.19 and bought the US dollars for $154.90. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $1.29, which represents pure profit. The Bank of Jamaica also facilitated transactions with the Canadian dollar, yielding a profit of $5.40 for traders on every dollar transacted. The Canadian dollar was sold at $115.50 and bought for $110.10, culminating in a profit for Forex traders. Similarly, traders focusing on the British pound pocketed a profit of $3.83, selling the British pound for $194.77 and buying it for $190.94. Now we turn to our credit report tip of the day. Strategically pay down your credit card balances. One effective way to boost your credit score is to focus on paying down your credit card balances strategically. Your credit utilization ratio, which is the amount of credit you're using compared to your total available credit, plays a significant role in your credit score. And so we encourage you to take care of your credit score on the journey to financial wellness. And with that, we wrap up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. Appreciate your company. Stay informed, stay ahead of the curve. Until our next update, take care.
In regional news, in Trinidad and Tobago, the need for proper legislation to treat with the real crimes in the virtual world came up as a topic of discussion at a joint select committee parliamentary meeting on Monday.
Despite the efforts of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, TTPS, to educate the public about the dangers lurking behind the social media business ideals, more people have fallen prey this year than last year to the schemes of bad actors in that realm. That was the message put forward by Sergeant Marvin Walker of the Cybercrime Unit to Parliament's Joint Select Committee on National Security. Giving statistics retrieved from the TTPS Crime and Problem Analysis branch to validate his point, Sergeant Walker said that in 2022, 38 people were lured into a location and later robbed after meeting persons on Facebook. However, he pointed out that the number had risen to 68 in 2023. Mr. Walker also indicated that there were major increases in larceny and fraud where Facebook was the medium of communication between both parties. But he noted that changes in legislation must be enabled for the lawmakers to nip the crime at the source.
The current legislation, what we try to use is just from the various parts. Offenses Against the Person Act, which covers areas in things like harassment and stuff like that. So the upgrade in terms of the legislation would do a few things. It would enable us to be able to better categorize some of the offenses, because let's say, for example, cyberbullying is not an offense particularly.
Explaining that there was a lack of legislation to deal with cybercrimes in the country, Head of the Cyber Unit, Amos Sylvester, explained that Trinidad and Tobago does not have the requisite tools to deal with the threat.
So the only thing we have in this country is the Computer Misuse Act of 2000, which is 23 years ago. And that act never really had the sight of the kind of crimes or situations we have now. So social media then and social media now is two different things.
Head of the Trinidad and Tobago Cybersecurity Incident Response Team, Angus Smith, pointed out that in 2023, 22 public sector institutions were hacked and 29 in the private sector. He said it represented about 80% of the cyber attacks, since there was no mandate for companies or persons to report the incidents.
Say from a year-on-year basis. So over the last 5 years, and we could go from, let's say, 2019 to now, we have had something like 200 plus different types of incidents throughout Trinidad and Tobago, both private and public sector. So that would range from a different in terms of categories.
Mr. Smith shared what he believed was one of the main reasons that institutions and companies were vulnerable to hackers in Trinidad and Tobago.
They may not have enough trained staff or just enough to suit, yes, trained staff, that's the best way to put it, enough trained staff to suit the positions that require to ensure that their infrastructure will be secure.
In Antigua and Barbuda, Cuba's top diplomat in St. John's has paid a courtesy call on Prime Minister Gaston Brown. Both discussed the enduring bonds of cooperation between both states, which have rebounded to their mutual benefit. Brianna Anthony reports.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister.
Certainly a pleasure.
New Cuban ambassador to Antigua and Barbuda, Sergio Martinez, paid a courtesy visit to Prime Minister Honorable Gaston Brown early Tuesday. The diplomat, who recently presented credentials to Governor General Sir Rodney Williams, conveyed his appreciation on behalf of the government and people for Cuba's long-standing support.
I want to thank in the name of my government and the Cuban people for the solidarity and support that Antigua gave to Cuba during all this year in our fight against the economic blockade, and more recently in the inclusion of Cuba in the Spurious list of the countries that sponsor terrorists. That is something that is completely nonsense. But during all this year, Cuba have always come with the solidarity or support of Antigua, and for us, it means a lot.
The Prime Minister highlights a few advantages for Antigua and Barbuda from cooperation with Cuba in a range of areas. The most notable of these is in the field of medical training.
Cuba has been a great friend of Antigua and Barbuda. I mean, our healthcare system, for example, without the Cuban personnel, Cuban doctors, Cuban nurses, I have to tell you, we would be in a crisis. So the Cuban Brigade has helped to strengthen our healthcare delivery. You provided us with a number of specialists as well, and we're very pleased with that level of collaboration and cooperation. You know too that many Antiguans and Barbudans during the last several decades have been trained in Cuba.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Brown hopes that through partnership with Cuba, small island states can lead the way in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals.
The achievement of the SDGs would have been delayed, but the next decade will be critical, and we're counting on the collaboration and support of Cuba. Your leadership as well in terms of your leadership in healthcare and other areas of expertise to help us to build capacity here and at the same time to strengthen our capacity to provide the type of global leadership that is required for all small island states and for other developing countries globally. Certainly a pleasure, and please convey my best wishes to my dear friend Raul for continued longevity and good health. Of course, to El Presidente.
Antigua and Barbuda and Cuba will celebrate 30 years of diplomatic ties next year. Brianna Anthony for ABS News.
In Guyana, with less than 48 hours remaining before President Dr. Ifran Ali meets his Venezuelan counterpart, Nicolas Maduro, under tense circumstances, the Guyanese leader has once again sought to clarify the agenda for those talks. He maintains that the border controversy and any hopes of resolving it at the bilateral levels is off the table.
President Dr. Ifran Ali will meet President Nicolas Maduro for the first time since becoming head of state in St. Vincent and the Grenadines on Thursday. It comes amid heightened tensions with fears of an imminent invasion from Venezuela in a decades-old border controversy over Guyana's resource-rich Essequibo region, two-thirds of Guyana to be exact. But ahead of those talks, the Guyanese leader is maintaining that he will in no way seek to address the border controversy, which is squarely before the International Court of Justice for resolution. President Ali, in a second letter to Dr. Gonzalez dated December 12, maintained that he is committed to the high-level dialogue, but said it will only go as far as seeking a de-escalation of the conflict to ensure the region remains a zone of peace. He was at the time indirectly responding to Maduro's acceptance letter to Gonzalez, and the Guyanese head of state sought to clarify what he described as certain inaccuracies contained in Maduro's letter. For context, let's backtrack a bit. Guyana's border with Venezuela was settled in the 1800s with a
1899 Arbitral Award, giving British Guyana at the time governance over Essequibo. In 1966, when Guyana was seeking independence from colonial rule, Venezuela rejected the 1899 award and the Geneva Agreement was put in place that opened talks on the matter. Up to 2018, those bilateral talks had not resolved the controversy and the matter was referred to the ICJ for full and final settlement. Venezuela does not want to await the outcome of that process, and here we are today with a recently held sham referendum in Venezuela, where Maduro failed to secure overwhelming support to annex Essequibo. But despite this, he's looking to move ahead with plans in his illegal claim over Essequibo. On Tuesday, President Ali rightfully reminded in the letter that he agreed to the meeting because CARICOM heads were insisting on the region remaining a zone of peace. So, Dr. Ali is looking forward to the talks to seek out a de-escalation of the conflict through an appropriate dialogue to ensure peaceful coexistence, the application and respect for international law, and the avoidance of the use of threats of force. But Maduro's letter sought to set out a broader scope for those talks, and the Guyanese leader has said, not so fast. President Ali reminded that he is duty-bound by Guyana's parliament not to make the controversy a point of discussion in any bilateral meeting with Maduro. Maduro's letter to Dr. Gonzalez refers to oil concessions in a maritime area yet to be delimited, and President Ali sought to provide the facts on this matter also.
In sports, Education Minister Fayval Williams is calling for more decorum from schools at sporting events. Her comments were made at Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing. At the recent Manning Cup finals between Mona High and Hydel High Schools, supporters stormed the field, interrupting the official celebrations of what was a historic first-time win for Mona.
I'm imploring our students to exercise all the qualities of sportsmanship that they are taught in the sport.
And as for the incident at Jamaica College?
I lay the responsibility squarely at the feet of the leadership of Mona High School to hold those students who were involved in this most crass behavior to account. And indeed, in the principal's response to us, it was indicated that such actions would be taken to investigate and discipline the students swiftly.
We turn to cricket. The West Indies have taken a 1-0 lead over England in their 5-match T20 International Series after winning the opening game by 4 wickets at the Kensington Oval in Barbados on Tuesday night. Cricket West Indies media spoke to Captain Rovman Powell at his team's final training session on Monday.
West Indies T20 captain Rovman Powell is eager to continue the momentum set by the ODI team in the series versus England.
I'm actually very excited, when you look on a West Indies team that includes so much returning guys, it's a powerful team. But having said that, we still have to play some good cricket, we still have to put it together as a complete team and not just from an individual perspective.
With the T20 World Cup being hosted in the Caribbean next year, all eyes will be on this team.
It's good that we have played T20 series before, so we have an idea of how we're looking to play. We have an idea of the squad. We have an idea of a combination that would work good for us. But these 5 games against England provides another opportunity for us to look at that, another opportunity for us to fine-tune.
T20 star Andre Russell returns to the West Indies setup for this series, and the captain welcomes his inclusion.
It's always good to have an Andre Russell in our West Indies team. We know the quality that he comes with, and he's fit and raring and ready to go to put on the maroon again for the people of the Caribbean. So it's exciting times, not just for me as a captain, but also exciting times for the fans.
Powell is confident that his captaincy style will augur well with the big names on the team as well as the newcomers.
It comes down to man management and how you manage players, and at the international level it's always good not to manage players from a collective unit, but to manage players from an individual perspective, So I, as the captain, I try to do that, try to deal with persons, different personalities, and see how best we can get them on board.
Wayne Cunningham, TTT Sport.
And that's the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.